Good morning, I just wanted to, are these on?
No.
Okay. No, I'm not taking these, but she's gonna start first, but we've been timing this down for about 10 minutes, so I just want to, alert you. Am I echoing, or is it just me? Maybe I should stand, is it too
No, it's
loud?
their phones echoing.
Probably move it farther away, how is that?
It's their phone.
It's their phones echoing.
Okay, sorry about that.
Can you ask them?
Okay, so just want to let you know, 10 minutes, don't pull the gong until 10 minutes. Good morning, my name is.
I've never used the gavel before.
Sorry, David, maybe the people on the conference, I think have to use their phone.
Yes, if people on the telephone line can mute their phones, that might be the issue.
Good morning, my name is Lita Abella. I'm the LA chapter president for the Employees Union at SEIU. I'm also an investigator with the Office of the Chief Trial Counsel. With me is Erin, Joyce. She's the vice president of the Attorney Bargaining Unit and the senior trial counsel at LCTC. The purpose of our presentation today is that the union wants the Board of Trustees to seek a new candidate for Chief Trial Counsel, and we want the board to delay voting on the confirmation of the CTC until every trustee has had sufficient time to investigate the very serious allegations of misconduct against our current chief. One, there's never been a chief trial counsel who has faced scandal and controversy as Jane Kim. Two, no chief trial counsel has had to withstand serious questions about her confirmation in the legislature. On November 5th, the union lodged a complaint against Jane Kim detailing how she has misrepresented backlog numbers since she took office in an effort to establish a lower backlog than was accurate. The complaint was given to our executive director, Elizabeth Parker, and our COO, Lita Wilson. Kim maintained cases in incorrect status and moved cases into the incorrect status to manipulate the backlog numbers at the end of 2011. She continued to minimize backlog throughout her time as chief by putting cases into abated and even closed status to hide them from the backlog count. She ordered the data analyst to remove SBIs from backlog in September 2013, and when she was caught, she blamed a low-level data analyst. These allegations against Kim have not been investigated. You cannot rely on the Nancy Solomon report to dismiss these allegations. They need an independent investigation. The complaint offered by Erin Joyce has all the exhibits you can review to see that the allegations make sense. Many of you only received the union's complaint last week, since the executive team did not circulate it to the board. Voting on the confirmation Christmas week without considering all these allegations will look rushed, forced, and show that all the facts were not considered before the nomination was put to vote. There's an anonymous complaint. That complaint was published in the newspapers on October 21st, just before the no confidence vote against Jane Kim, and it details some very serious workplace problems facing the staff of OCTC against Jane Kim. This complaint was also not provided to the board prior to the board being requested to vote on Kim's nomination.
Then we'll turn to the Noonan complaint. On October 22nd, 2015, the former managing director filed an over 40-page whistleblower complaint detailing many separate acts of misconduct by the Chief Trial Counsel. Part of that misconduct is the failure to properly investigate the claims John Noonan raised against Jane Kim by having Nancy Solomon conduct a skewed investigation predetermined to clear Jane Kim, since Nancy Solomon was connected to the defense in the Dunn lawsuit. There are additional serious allegations against Jane Kim in the Noonan complaint, which post-date the Solomon investigation. These allegations have not been sent to an outside independent examiner. Yet, the current executive team has asked this board to vote on confirmation before these issues are resolved. The executive team apparently did not provide the Noonan complaint and hundreds of pages of exhibits to that complaint to the board members. Noonan just filed a proof of claim last Friday seeking $15 million in damages for wrongful termination, since he was laid off in November, shortly after filing the whistleblower complaint and before it was investigated. The Noonan claim, which is just the latest headline this morning, painting the State Bar in a bad light. all of the press generated by Jane Kim has been bad for the state bar. We don't need a public relations firm. What we need is a new chief trial counsel who is not the center of controversy and scandal. To vote on Jane Kim's confirmation while these serious complaints are pending is premature. Now the legislature will have to pass on Jane Kim's nomination. The Rules Committee will not blindly rely on the Solomon Report to clear Jane Kim. And they will have serious questions about how the Board of Trustees fulfilled its fiduciary duty to the bar by properly investigating these allegations. The state bar faces unprecedented challenges in Sacramento the coming year already, with the government mandated workforce planning, appropriate backlog metrics, and the governing structure of the bar itself all part of the mix. Jane Kim's nomination is a bad way to start the new year in Sacramento. At best, the board will burn a lot of political capital trying to secure approval for her confirmation, which is no sure thing. The union urges the board to find a new chief for the new year, which will signal a break from the old practices which have brought on such tough scrutiny and criticism in the state bar auditor's report, the press, and in the legislature. Now the union has raised other serious problems with Jane Kim. Under the current chief trial counsel, the discipline system in California has lacked fundamental fairness. Those of us who work the line know that public protection has taken a back seat to other concerns under Jane Kim. Jane Kim's micromanagement of every charging and settlement decision has not resulted in better lawyering in the Office of Chief Trial Counsel. We provided many of the board members who met with us last week with a list of 15 cases where the attorneys being prosecuted by the state bar were exonerated on all charges. This is not an exhaustive list, but it certainly shows that we have lost more cases as an office under Jane Kim than we did under any prior chief. Under Jane Kim, matters are forced to trial routinely with levels of discipline approved which are more than the case is worth after a full trial victory. When we met with the executive team and Jane Kim in early November, she said she keeps stats like that. Well, you should ask her for them. And when you read those stats and review those stats, they're gonna show how our office squanders resources, forcing trials in many matters, knowing full well that the levels of discipline that we're seeking as an office are not supported either by the standards or by case law. Jane Kim has misrepresented to our stakeholders what we can actually do with limited resources. In the February 2015 RAD report on the UPL Oversight Committee, Kim boldly states that our office has, quote, routinely filed, successfully executed, and administered section 6126.5 Superior Court petitions, unquote, to take over non-attorney law offices to seize client files. In truth, those of us boots on the ground did our research, and we've only been able to identify one matter in 2013 where our office actually went into Superior Court on such a case. Most distressingly, Jane Kim does not see any part of the mess that we face in the Office of Chief Trial Counsel as her fault. She blames everyone else for her own poor management decisions. She's running from her own record. The employees of the Office of Chief Trial Counsel and the public here in California deserve better. We urge you to take a look at the list of failed cases put together by the union. Look at Jane Kim's emails directing the data analyst to remove the SBIs from the backlog count. Study the February 2015 RAD report representations about non-attorney UPL. Take the time to ask Jane Kim those tough questions. Get answers that satisfy you. The legislature will be asking those types of tough questions, which to date, Jane Kim has been able to avoid. Here we are, Christmas week, in a time of miracles, and we hope that you come here with an open mind. We, the union, are doing everything possible to further the public protection mission of the State Bar. We've met with legislators and legislative staff concerning our serious problems with another Jane Kim term. We've met with many of you to explain in detail our concerns. We hope this confirmation is not a foregone conclusion. As David Pasternak reminded us at our meeting last Tuesday, this board is not the final word. The State Bar cannot withstand a public fight in Sacramento over the failed record of the current chief.
The State Bar cannot afford to lose credibility with our stakeholders by submitting Jane Kim's name as chief when a record shows that under her tenure, public protection has not been her priority. Moreover, with the threat and existing lawsuits where Kim is a witness and defendant, another 4 years of Jane Kim will distract OCTC from the vital public protection mission of the bar. Lastly, with 76% no confidence vote against Jane Kim, the employees' voices were heard loud and clear that new leadership is needed. For all these reasons, we urge you to delay this vote until all of your questions are answered, a thorough investigation is conducted, and the vote is forced today, then vote no on Jane Kim. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. I do want to just respond to one item. As the board knows, we did try to schedule this meeting a week ago and 2 weeks ago, and due to too many conflicts with too many board members, we were unable to do so, and that's the reason why this meeting is occurring a few days before Christmas. It wasn't anything intentional. But thank you.
I'd just like to also add one thing. We have copies of all of those documents that we cited. We have them here in a box, so if anyone did not get them from us, because I didn't have your proper email, I'm so happy to share them with you at any break. We will be here to answer any questions that you might have.
Thank you again. Is there anybody else who has public comment? Yes.